Video 3, time for completion. How long does it take to do work? Well, it depends. One of the key aspects of Agile project management, I did not make this up, I just adopted it into the Livable Law method, is self-regulating time estimates. Usually when you go into an assignment, this is how the conversation normally goes. Hi, please draft the response to this motion. Okay, when do you want it by? Friday. All right. The person who received the work had no input into how much time it was going to take them to do the work. I would encourage you to move away from that system. I know, we're breaking habits. I know. People completing tasks should be the first to provide an estimate of how long it's going to take them because they should be trusted to do so. Remember when I talked about burnout and that one of the things that leads to burnout is lack of control? This is giving back control. It's not a partner's place to tell a legal assistant how long it takes to format a 100-page document, especially given the fact that they probably don't do it. Okay? It's up to the legal assistant to say, okay, well, it's going to take me X amount of time. Caveat. If it objectively takes too long for that work to be done, this is a training issue. But forcing people into time restrictions that they cannot abide by because they are missing the proper training to complete them does not actually help. You're not teaching anybody a lesson. It would be better to objectively say, look, this should not take this long. How are you doing it? Let's talk about how to better use this technology to get it done faster. That's the conversation. And then the person who does the job gets to tell the team how long it is going to take them to complete the task. And notice it is telling the team because this goes back to transparency and team workload. Why? Because you want to give people control over their work. Because lawyers are fiercely autonomous. We are. We are independent little buggers and we don't like to be told how to do things. And because it's a learning tool. It would help people understand if they are over or underestimating how long it will take them to do work. If given the proper tools and if given the freedom to declare how much time it's going to take and then be able to compare using a task matrix system and regular meetings to say, you know what, I thought it was going to take only about 10, 12 hours and now it actually took me 6, so now I know better. Or I thought it was going to take 10 to 12, it took 18. And then you can do some troubleshooting. I mean, does it really take 18? Maybe. Or did something go wrong? Okay, well, let's talk about that. But it's a really good way to assess ourselves. It's a self-assessment tool. And again, this provides control and it increases fairness and it allows people to engage in their work. You should always, always, always plan for editing workflow. Your calendaring, your time management, your setting of deadlines has to plan for the editing workflow. All of it. There's a first draft. There's a review. There's time for incorporation of the edits. There is time to assemble the exhibits. And then there is a final site checking process. That's just anatomy of a motion or a response or a brief. The anatomy can be very different, right? There can be deposition outline. Okay, draft this deposition outline. All right. So first I'm going to have to pull all of the documents that are relevant to this witness. Step 1. Okay. Then we're going to have to get those documents organized and base labeled and indexed if that hasn't happened yet. But if you take my course Management of Things, then that will be done by then. But okay. Once that's done, the person who's drafting the outline is going to draft the outline. And then that outline maybe is going to get reviewed or not. Sometimes it doesn't get reviewed. And then the exhibits have to be assembled and shipped. Those are all steps that need to take place before the deposition happens. And you're also going to have a deposition prep in there probably, right? It depends. So there is a continuum. Now, you might say to me, but that's a lot of time, Juji. We don't have that time. Well, I didn't make up the tasks. The tasks exist. What is concerning you is that it looks like it's a lot of work. Well, it was a lot of work anyway. What happened is that we have lifted the veil on how much work it is, and that we are properly going to set timelines in our calendars so that we are properly managing individual and team workload to provide for this work. I'll give you one rule that I had. I do no same-day turnarounds. If somebody sends me a document in the morning, you will get it the next day. Period. That was a really good way to regulate the rhythm of work. Now, I'm also not a bottleneck employee, a bottleneck partner, or a bottleneck lawyer, and we'll talk about that problem. That's a different issue. I will get it back in a timely manner. I will say, hey, I will get back to you by Friday, and then it will be back to you by Friday or sooner. But I would tell people, you send me something, do not expect the same day. Certainly not same day, because that is disrespectful, and that is not taking into consideration my workload. When you are setting deadlines, you should consider the overall team workflow, because you're not just giving it to one person. And if you have broken it down by the different phases in the editing workflow, you will realize that one assignment impacts several people on your team. And this is where we're going to talk a little bit more about the Scrum Master. The Scrum Master will be the person who can look at the overall team. Usually a good Scrum Master is either your senior associate who's like carrying the weight of running the day-to-day, or a junior partner, or a senior paralegal, or a legal administrator, like a firm administrator. They need to be really familiar with the idea that process is not matter management, and they're going to be enforcers of that concept. They're going to be able to avoid the pileups. They're going to break up the log jams. If they're going to be able to say, hey, we need an extension, we need to reassign, we need to hire more people. They need to be the person who has that ear and is able to have that relationship and say, look, we need to hire more people. And they are going to be the enforcers of evenings and weekends not being available. And here's what I'm going to tell you about this. I had an absolutely magnificent junior associate. Magnificent. She was such a hard worker, such an extraordinarily hard worker. And we were having a matrix review meeting on a Friday, and it came out that because of some shifts and some rapid fire deadlines we were getting and a matter that was heating up, there were 3 or 4 things that were now due on Monday and Tuesday. And she just jumped in and she said, yeah, I'll do it. And I said, no, you're not. When are you going to do it? She said, well, this weekend. I'm sorry, I don't understand that word. That doesn't exist in this world. Absolutely not. I was acting as a Scrum Master. I was protecting my team. So what I did is that we reassigned some stuff. First, as that she had something that was going to be nearly done. She told me she was nearly done on Friday. So I told her to send it to me. I will take that over. So it's off your plate. Like, you send me what you've done, I'll take it off your plate. And then we requested an extension for one of the things. We pushed it down to a Wednesday, and that means she was down to one task that was due, I think, Monday or Tuesday. I don't remember, but that's how we freed it up. That's what your Scrum Master does. And that's what you should be doing, not just for your team, but for yourself. I mean it. Boundaries, not balance. Certain times should be untouchable, and you should give yourself the grace and the permission to make it untouchable.